I got a comment this morning on YouTube, someone telling me that I was slept on, and I was like, I mean, I get what you're saying. I put out a lot of content and it doesn't go viral like a lot of my peers, but there's clearly something I'm doing wrong with my content. And I could probably have a conversation with you about all the things that I've done wrong that set me up to this point where I'm lagging in a lot of areas.
It was just like kind of like one of those loading bars.
Well, speaking of loading bars, my state is now open. So all the bars are loaded. All the bars are open. People are just rushing there to drink because they got sick of being alcoholics at home. They got sick of drinking at home. So then I guess, they want to go drink with their friends and the viral strains. What's going down? It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. This is episode number 47. What's going on, Dan? We have a special guest who's going to join us in a bit, but for now it's just us.
Shit, man. This week super busy as always. So we wrapped up the collab for the crown contest. The submission deadline was Sunday. So we're hoping to announce the winners this Sunday. I've sent over the videos that got 100 votes or more. So we're really just kind of, going to be waiting on him. I'm not sure what his schedule is like. So I think he'll be able to get us the winners by Sunday so we can announce them. But I'm not sure. But at the latest, the following Sunday or sometime during the week, next week. So we didn't get as many entries as I'd hoped. I think that the coronavirus was kind of held some people back, possibly. I don't know. But we got some dope entries. So I know that the winners are gonna represent the contest right, because I don't think anybody whack is gonna win. So I look forward to seeing who Crooked picks, and we take ourselves out of this process so people can't be like, oh, Dame Payne, you guys picked the wrong. I don't want to hear any contest complaints. So I'm glad we got Crooked to pick who he wants to collaborate with. And if you missed it, we'll do it again at some point. It's something that we'll continue to do. I like the collab for the crown contest. I like, not forcing. Hopefully it's not forcing people to collab. It's something that you guys should be doing anyway.
Some people need to be compelled to do something that they should be doing just so that they realize the benefit of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I did get a couple of messages like, Dame, I'm glad you guys put this contest together. They actually used the word force, like, forced me to create something that I wouldn't have created on my own. And that's kind of like what I like to hear and see, but everything we asked you to do in the contest is what you should be doing anyway, right? Like networking with other people, making dope music, making dope visuals, promoting yourself, and the contests are always a net positive, but, some of the customer service inquiries or some of the questions that get asked, can be a little annoying, but it's always worth it at the end, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Speaking of the Rona, how is your state doing right now?
I mean, I think everybody's kind of a little on edge. There's just a lack of leadership in this country. So, everybody's kind of doing, there's a lot of misinformation. People don't know like what's going on. I've been trying to get my information just from some of my friends who run hospitals or are doctors, and just kind of gauging from their experience, like what are they experiencing? Obviously this is real. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. Like what we're dealing with is real, but it's like, okay, well, how serious is it? I just wish we could all get on the same page. I wish we could all get, like, hey, this is what we're going to do, that we're going to open these businesses when this threshold is met, when we have this number of cases, when we have this number of hospital capacity, when we have this number of hospital admissions, this measure of testing capability. Like it should be easy to put a plan in place, but in terms of execution, I know it's a lot more difficult, but because the leadership is poor, we all suffer. So,
well, there is no plan, and we had a stay-at-home order that was implemented by the governor, and then we just had the Supreme Court. The governor here is a Democrat. The Supreme Court is Republican. They just overturned that, so now things are
Oh, I
open
saw that
as
on
of,
CNN. I saw your
yeah.
governor on CNN last night. That was Wisconsin. You guys,
Yeah, that was us. We're fucked. So anyway, moving on. I know you had a topic you wanted to intro with that I'm sure I'm just gonna love talking about.
yeah. Well, actually, before that, just a real quick topic. Like, so I read an article that because of the coronavirus, like drive-ins might come back, like drive-in like concerts. I used to love going when I was little. Like going to the drive-in was like one of the most fun things to do. To me, was when we got to go to the drive-in. But there's no more drive-ins in LA. There might be
We
like
got
one.
one. We got one. It's in a small ass town.
Yeah.
I'm not
But
going there just for that experience, but it exists.
what do you think about that concept? Like a drive-in concert. Like would you want to go like pull up and see somebody perform?
I mean, we were doing so well when we were just staying our asses at home and like pollution and smog were down. So now this is just, I guess the really negative byproduct of all this stuff is now people are going to be in their cars a lot more because they don't want to exit their vehicles. Would I personally go to a drive-in concert? I mean, maybe. I think people are frustrated about how there's no social interaction associated with a drive-in concert. But then if you go to an actual live concert, people are just there on their phones anyway, live streaming the whole thing and not paying attention to what's going on. So not everybody, obviously, I don't want to generalize, but a fair amount of people, to the point it's now part of the culture of live performance to yell at people for having their phones out and not experiencing the moment. So I think people would go to the drive-in concerts. I think there's going to be a lot of bitching about it. I don't know. I mean, at this point, anyone's guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if it'll happen, but I think it's kind of a cool. Depending on the artist, like I don't go to that many live shows anymore. Even obviously before the coronavirus, but I think it'd be a kind of a cool concept. I don't think it's something that's open to smaller artists, like but for like the bigger artists, it could be a cool experience depending on how it's put together. But this
I'm
whole
trying to think of how that would work for a DJ event. Would I DJ a drive-in concert? I feel like the kind of music I would play for a drive-in concert would be very different from what I would play for just a regular club where people can actually touch each other.
Yeah, it definitely would be weird. But anyway, I just wanted.
It's probably not going to be like Meg the Stallion over and over again. It's probably going to be like Portishead.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would probably go one time just to kind of see what it's like. But anyway, that's not the topic that I wanted to talk about today. It was just something that I saw in an email that I got. What I wanted to talk about today was like this idea of being slept on, right? Like I've been in music for over a decade now, and just being on social media, all these artists complain about being slept on. Nobody's paying them any attention. And I wanted to ask you, Payne, because I've never seen it. Like I've never seen somebody that's truly unique, truly talented, that put out music consistently and consistently engage with their fans, put out cool visuals, like consistently over a longer period of time and never get traction. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Have you ever seen an artist that you thought was like super, super, super dope and was putting out music consistently, putting out visuals over a longer period, and let's say longer period of time, even consistently for a year or two? Like, have you ever seen them not move at all?
I guess not. I'm instantly thinking of one of my favorite rappers who just never really made it in the way that his fans thought he would, but he was signed, he was Grammy nominated. I'm talking about AZ. So that's probably not what we're talking about. We're probably talking about the person that was never had a Motown Universal deal and never was nominated for a Grammy for a Nas feature.
Right. Like, can you think of anybody that you've seen on social media, independent artists, that you thought was super dope, but they have to be consistent. They have to be putting out music consistently, putting out visuals consistently, engaging with their fans, for even a year, like, but it's somebody that you had to have you seen it? Have you seen them not progress?
No, and I'll throw in to that whole pot of excuses the phrase, "I'm not getting any support." So I think it's the same thing. I think the same person who would come out and say, "I'm being slept on," is the same person that's saying, "I'm not getting support. No one supports. Why is there no support? That's why I'm not winning." And those are just symptoms of an attitude. To me, those are symptoms of an attitude. They're not actual descriptive analyses of what's actually happening. You know, if you said, I performed for a crowd of 1,000 and everyone turned their back, yeah, that's you not getting support. If you said, I just released 10 albums in a row and was co-signed by every member of Shady Records, but I can't even get booked and I can't even get, 2 Facebook comments, then I'd say, yeah, maybe you're being slept on. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it literally doesn't. So for the people that think they're being slept on, there's a reason you're being slept on. And I'm not here to tell a person if they're good or they're not. I just like for them that should be obvious to the response that you get, right? Like if you're truly dope and unique, then people are going to respond to you. There still is an audience that loves bars, right? So I recently started a new content series called Indies You Should Follow. And every week I'm going to highlight an independent artist that I think other artists should follow. And I don't care if you like their music or not. That's not the point of following these folks. The point of following them is to watch how they move, to watch the content they're posting, because there's a reason that I'm spotlighting them. It could be from a marketing perspective, could be from a merch perspective, it could be from just a business perspective. But I did Futuristic first. Obviously, Futuristic he's probably the biggest hip hop independent artist to come out of Arizona. Been grinding for a minute, and I did him first because I know him, I know his story, and he's got an album coming out, or his album just did come out the other day. So I thought I'd help in that capacity as well. But another independent artist that I want to highlight is a young lady named Lady London. And I've been following her for a minute. And she grew her following. She probably has, I don't know how many followers she has, but she has a lot. And when she posts her freestyles now, she gets like 100,000 views, 200,000 views. So she's been successful in capturing people's attention. I don't know what's going to happen from here. Now she has to kind of, figure out how she's going to monetize this attention, how she's going to bring this attention over to actual music, because sometimes people have these freestyles and stuff that go viral, but then they put out their music and it's not as supported as their freestyles. And that's where I think she's at right now. She has to figure out how to get the same energy in her music. But she started off just posting her rapping. That's it. But she's good. Like she's super dope. She's an attractive young lady. So I'm not gonna deny that that's a reason that, probably some people follow her, but she is super dope. And the way that she raps is so effortless, that I think that's part of the appeal. It's kind of like a conversational rap. So it's unique, it's effortless. She's dope. She's got bars. And she did it. I don't know how long she's been doing it, but now she's got a great platform to do something with, right? To establish some brand, to, push people over to her music. I think she's also like a writer as well, like a author. So she's written a book. But that's the next person that I want to highlight for the Indies You Should Follow series. But it also highlights this idea of being slept on. Like people are going to wake up when they resonate with your stuff, and you have the platforms now to be able to get people's attention. So I see it so much. I'm sure you see it too, Payne, like all these people saying, yo, man, these people, they sleeping on, like every year it's like, it's the same people. Like it's the same people since I've been in it so long. Like it's the same people saying they're slept on too. It's like, man, like it's something you're doing. It's not everybody else.
Yeah, I get comments telling me that I got a comment this morning on YouTube, someone telling me that I was slept on. And I was like, I mean, I get what you're saying. I put out a lot of content and it doesn't go viral like a lot of my peers, but there's clearly something I'm doing wrong with my content. And I could probably have a conversation with you about all the things that I've done wrong that set me up to this point where I'm lagging in a lot of areas. But when I first started just making music and being a DJ and being a producer in my city, we had this whole attitude where we were being slept on. I think we put out, maybe we didn't even put music out. Maybe we put out one album or something and we're like, we're not getting shows. We're not getting press. What's going on? All these artists that are getting press. And it was just a couple of them. We started resenting. We started thinking there was some kind of conspiracy. You know, they're in with the media. They're doing this and that. So then I remember we got disrespectful and then there were all these problems. And after we had some confrontations and everything got resolved, it was a very quick lesson that at least I learned, which was I just started talking to people, you know, like journalists and other artists and going to shows and talking to the manager and saying, hey, who put this event on? And then, you know, they're not secretive about it. It's out in the open. So they started telling me. I start talking to these people. I start having conversations and supporting their events. And next thing you know, the journalists know who we are. So we're submitting our events to their calendar because they make this very clear and they make it easy to do. We're submitting our albums for their review. We're treating them as human beings. And now we're getting media. Now we're getting articles written about us or mentions, or we're listed in the publications in their calendar section. And it was just really easy and really simple. But because we didn't even make an effort to figure out why certain people were succeeding over us, we just didn't even think to use our common sense. You know, if someone's doing something well, there's probably a reason. So why don't you just look at their process? And what you're saying is you're seeing people talk about how slept on they are, talk about how they're not getting support year after year after year. I see the same people and they're not networking. They're not demystifying the process. They're not learning the process. They're lashing out at the people who are more successful than them because they think that those people have some kind of magic potion that they're just not sharing with them. And I felt that same way.
But what you're talking about, that's next level growth, right? I'm talking about just with content, just with consistent content,
that's the minimum.
You can start to move, right? And then what you're talking about is like, okay, once I have this consistent content that I know people enjoy, how do I kick it up a notch? You know, what relationships can I build? You know, what rooms can I get in? So, you know, it's just frustrating, and that's why I really wanted to start this content series that the indies you should follow, and I'm gonna try to drop it every Sunday because I just think it's important for cats to watch like how other artists move that are successful, right? I mean, in our space, like in the music education space, it's not a sexy space, you know, and of course we know what we could do to get more clicks and likes, you know, but I just don't think that's not in the realm of our personalities, nor is it like how I want to, like, I'm comfortable with what we do. Like I'm comfortable with, you know, with the following that we have. Of course we want to grow and want to connect with more people. But I'm not going to step outside of myself to do certain things. Like I like what we do. And I think even with us, it's proven as well. It's like we've grown by posting quality content, you know, based on our experiences and leveraging our network to bring other quality people to the table, and just have quality conversations around the music business. And I think, you know, obviously we're not going to be celebrities doing this, but we have a decent amount of success doing what we do. So I think we're an example of it as well. But I know I said consistency like it's easy. I understand it's not easy to be consistent. But that's where you need to get consistent quality content. You'll start to get some traction. So I think looks like Ted is popping in here. I'm gonna ask him the question. Ted, what up, man? Can you hear us?
Hey, what up? My bad, y'all. I couldn't look. I forgot my password.
Typical artist shit, man. Typical artist.
We live in the rapper lifestyle in Atlanta, man.
Yo, we're wrapping up this part of the conversation, but I just wanted to ask you: have you ever seen an artist that put out dope quality content, let's just say for a year consistently, and not move at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have seen it?
Yeah.
So you basically like went against everything I've just said in the past 30 minutes.
Oh, my bad. Nah, but I think there's a difference between dope quality. Like, you could have dope content and not have your branding in place. You know what I'm saying? Like, You could be a dope rapper, a dope singer. You could drop dope covers and dope originals and dope videos for a year, but you might not have your brand and your selling point aligned with that. So then you're just releasing dope stuff to absolutely no one for 12 months. I've seen that.
So you think it's possible to, so I think because wait.
To your guys' defense though, I don't know what y'all are talking about right now, but at the same time though, it be those people that are really talented and somehow are able, they're very talented at putting content together, like their music together, their songwriting. They're good at putting it out publicly, but they are very lazy at trying to get people's attention with it. You know what I'm saying? So
so that's part of it. We're probably on the same. I don't want to go back and like rehash this conversation because I know.
You know what? Maybe I have though, but it's, you know what it is? It's the kind of content. I think Ted will agree with me. The kind of content they're putting out is all product. It's not personal. It's not branding. It's not, hey, this is me.
Oh, yeah. All product.
It's like, it's all product. It's song after song after song, music video. It's never anything interactive. It's never any, because I feel like if you open an Instagram page right now and post an amazing, not even an amazing, if you post a good song every single day with just, like an image of your album cover over and over again, you're going to do terribly. You could do that for 5 years straight and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some people do that. And then they, they drop a music video every 2 weeks or something. And it's like, that's cool, but nobody knows who you are because you haven't done a good job conveying your personality. You haven't done a good job talking to people and sharing your story with people.
No,
well, I'm starting to kind of.
So I think that's a crucial part of being an independent art. I think independent artists have to be more personable, for the most part. But I would like for the next podcast, I want, and Ted, if you want to come back, feel free. I want you to show me these artists that have been putting out, so we can analyze them on the spot and be like, okay, listen to the music. If we're allowed, I don't know if we're allowed to listen.
Oh man, they got to pay for that, man. Come on.
Because I literally have. So what I said was somebody that's been consistent, putting out music, putting out visuals, engaging with their fans on social media. If they have really dope content, they have to see some progression, throughout. If they do that consistently, even for a year, I think a year is even a short amount of time. I think it should be longer, but I would say even just for a year. But we can move on to the next topic because we've been talking about it for a minute. I know
you can mess up your momentum though. You can have great momentum and great content and mess it up by doing stupid stuff.
Oh yeah, now me and Peyton,
I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's that's
because some people are on the right path and then they do something dumb like post something that doesn't make any sense or skip a post or
delete all their music and disappear.
Or that it just
momentum on social media is, and I've seen this like recently with Big Ja because, obviously he still got great momentum. He still got a lot of fans, but we saw that his most recent videos aren't doing as well, but he didn't post for like a month and some change because he caught the coronavirus. So he was knocked out for like a month or some change, and that really messed up his page. It really kind of threw the algorithms off because that consistency stopped. So there's a tech piece to this momentum and the algorithms on these platforms as well. So be mindful of that. Once you start getting some momentum, you got to keep the pace. I mean, your fans expect it. So there's a fan element, and that's probably the most important element. But there's algorithms that are now expecting and learning how you're posting and how people are responding to your content, and that could help dictate some of the reach of your posts.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in a separate video, but and I have already. I just don't think people understand how much they're shooting themselves in the foot by posting bad content over and over again. I think people just look at social media like it was back in the Friendster or MySpace days, where every piece of content is treated equally, and it's not. But to transition over to a different conversation, which is influencer marketing and kind of how deceptive it is. I didn't realize it. Now, just to intro in to this, I wanted to talk to you, Ted, because you are now considered an influencer, or you have been for a while. Right. And as a result of being considered an influencer, this plays into social media, because you have to have a good social media reach and you have to have good engagement to be what I would consider an actual influencer.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the fake influencer situation in a second, but the real influencer marketing relies on you being a real influencer. When did it get to the point where companies were reaching out to you with actual legitimate influencer marketing deals?
I think my target is being literally the only younger Asian American artist with traction. So it started with that. And then brands were more inclined to me when they saw my engagement rate. You know what I mean? Like, even before I started creeping towards 100K followers on Instagram, like I was at like 40, 50K followers, still getting hundreds of comments and at least half of 10,000 likes. And they were watching my lives and seeing how engaged people were, reposting, resharing my content, tagging me in a fan art, covers, dance, whatever. So they saw how engaged my fans were. So every brand that has worked with me has, they see the rate of return, but also the rate of my growth. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it is. I think with brands, like, they're getting smarter. So they're not looking at your follower count anymore. I mean, it has to be semi-substantial, of course, but they're really studying and looking at your engagement and if there's a potential of ROI. You know what I mean? Because it's more powerful to have 100K influencers that actually have really loyal ass fans that are gonna engage with the post and go follow the sponsor or whatever, rather than on 1 million, 2 million influencer that can't even sell 15 t-shirts.
So without telling actual numbers or something, what do these influencer deals, the ones that you've taken, what do those usually involve?
Oh, involve me doing? How do I participate?
What do they give you and what do you give them?
They make my life a whole lot easier, I'll tell you that. But you know what it is? Like, they're getting smarter too. It used to be the standard, like, post this promo, right? Twice a month, but now it's like, okay, they'll send me a product. I'll wear it organically. I'll throw it on my page. I'll tag, whatever, a couple times a month. I'll throw it on the story. But because every brand that I take, and I try to be very authentic with my brand, so I'm not going to take a sponsorship that doesn't match my lifestyle, you know, as of right now. So for me, it's like, I'll just wear it in my videos, or I'll have it at my event. And it'll be fly stuff that everyone else like, etc. And then I'll just wear it naturally, and I'll post it and I'll shout them out while I'm performing, or while I'm live, or while I'm with my other artist homies that are posting me, and then they'll post it. So it's pretty organic, and it's a way to spread the traction and continue their name and their brand awareness, while it only ups my image and my leverage as well.
So you're giving them,
you're
giving them your platform, and they're giving you products, but are they paying you as well? Is it a contract?
Oh, I didn't know we was talking about that. Yeah, I mean, I'll always compensated. I mean, if you're an artist and you have a brand, you definitely want to be compensated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get too big. Like, know what your ballpark is with your budget as well. Of course, that's how you lose a brand deal. But Yeah, like it'll always be product and pay, and both things definitely help me because the brands that I'm aligned with are definitely bigger brands that actually up my value just by being associated with them and them posting me. And then they pay my rent, so it's cool, man. It's good. It's a good time.
He said he only rocks with things that are in line with his brand, at least for right now. He's basically telling us he gonna sell out later. Like later he's gonna sell out. But right now, it's stuff that I really rock with. But when the checks get bigger,
selling out. It's not selling out. It's selling more, Dane. You know this, man. Come on.
What are we gonna see? We're gonna see like a Ted Park Wrangler partnership, or like
that's not even selling out because I'm about to go fishing and I love Brett Favre, man. Bro, it's so good.
Not so. At what point? I mean, because I'm sure like as artists progress. Like in the beginning is product. Like, you kind of go through these phases where, artists, brands might send you some product and they'll kind of, because a lot of this stuff is a long-term or you have to see it as a long-term relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Right?
So It might start at product, and then as you grow and they see the kind of value that you add to their brand, and then it turns financial. So was there like a number on Instagram that you hit when you started getting actual financial sponsorship as opposed to just product?
Yeah, for me, it was about 60K. Okay. But you know what it is, though? I will say artists, the follower count can be a little bit lower because the type of stuff that I'm getting, if I was a straight influencer, I would have $250,000. But these companies see the value of artists and growth, and also realistically being Asian and them wanting to hit that market as well. That definitely gives me a one-up. You know what I mean? Right. But, I mean, every artist is unique. So, I mean, if you have a lot of engagement and your followers are building, because they look at that they ask your analytics. You know what I'm saying? So they want to see if your posts are sponsored. They want to see if they're organic. They want to see how fast, like, you see the 7-day on Instagram, like, losing, gaining followers. They want to see all that stuff. And then if they see a rapid or at least a very consistent growth, and you're already at a pretty sizable amount, 50, 60K, I think that if they like your music and they like your image, and if they think your brand aligns with what they want to do, AKA realistically, you're not shooting people and beating up people on Instagram and stuff. They might rock with you. So
right. So
yeah, it's a number of things.
Some of the brands that we work with now, they're actually so the requirements on YouTube is always that we post their link as the first link in the description, line of the description. So, and obviously that's a trackable link. So they're tracking sales like literally from that video. And, if it's successful, they come back and want another one because they know that they're getting the return on investment. But all of this stuff, like, so we recently went down to the Ethica office. So Ethica has become like a pretty big brand. So when you're working, like I said before, it's you have to think about it long-term, like what your ask should be now in terms of how you want this brand to play a part in your career going forward. Right. So sometimes you shouldn't, even if you have a big following, you shouldn't be like, I need to be paid. If your goal is to also kind of leverage their brand like you're doing with some of the brands, because it kind of helps you. It kind of helps you look cooler. It's another platform for them.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to know where you're at. Like, for example, realistically, if something makes sense for me, I'll do a free show. I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, because like if you're not a superstar, but you also have to understand your worth as well. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, I don't really do one-offs anymore. I do monthly contracts because it's stable. And it's stability, and it's a situation that can grow rather than one post and you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I will take a one-off. Don't get me wrong. I'm just right, But I do like the contractual stuff because it gives the artist and the client the opportunity to grow together and see if there's a long-term partnership, because I think in this music industry, things are just too all over the place, and long-term partnerships are what are going to keep you afloat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you can get to a point where you have a contract in place and it's over a certain period of time, I mean, that's ideal. Because then there's like constant communication on a weekly or monthly basis. You're coming up with ideas together. You're coming up with maybe some contesting ideas or just ways to support one another. And that's the ideal situation. But it's sometimes hard to get to that point. For artists that are smaller, that don't have as much traction, or maybe they only have like 5,000 followers, but maybe all 5,000 came from your city. So you might be able to look into some local brands.
Oh yeah.
Some local support. Have you ever had a situation like that where it was just kind of local stuff from where you're from?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was in high school, it was all local. You know, Payne was helping me book my shows, and I was literally just going out in the field, just meeting up with people, going to parties, getting myself as a person, as my energy out there, getting my music out there. I was releasing a video, or like a freestyle video on Facebook, like every week. And unfortunately, you know, I was one of those people that was tagging about 100 people, but you know, it worked. So, you know what I mean?
But remember, remember Scott's Urban Wear?
Yeah, I do.
They were very supportive of artists with product donations, not product donations, product sponsorships, and donations if you were an organization.
Yeah, they were doing product sponsorships, and plus, if you were an artist, like they would give you at least like a nice ass discount. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you couldn't get like $20 shoes, they'll plug you for like $185. That was love. So you know what I mean?
Ted,
yeah, stuff like that is important for sure.
So the brands that you work with, are these people that reached out to you, or did you reach out to them?
They've reached out to me, and it's not really just brands; it's more of companies. You know what I mean? And that have brands under them. Okay. But yeah, they reached out to me. But I would say that if I knew what I knew now, per se, when I was at 10K followers, I would have been reaching out to everyone. Trust me. Anyone that I liked their stuff and had a decent platform. And I don't even mean like a huge platform. Anyone around the same or larger than me, I would have been reaching out and being active and doing stuff for free, getting posted on their stuff, posting their stuff. I would have just been all over the place. But of course, like, you know, that just wasn't the route I took. But if I had known the stuff that I know now, I definitely would have done that. Because let's say you rock with 20 brands, right? In a month. Mm-hmm. You get 10 followers from each brand because they like your drip and they like your sound. That's 200 new fans, 200 new people that are talking about you and sharing it to their people. So yeah, like that's collaboration, not just music. Artists be getting it twisted that music collaboration is the only way to build. Like there's so many other things you can do. You can partner with local stores and do pop-ups at their shops. You know what I mean? Tap in there and throw events and get their people tuned in. You can do collabs with streetwear companies and cross-brand. You can do collaborations with photographers and all types of stuff, man. Like, because everything comes, the fashion, the arts, the music, everything comes full circle. And realistically, if someone is entertained where it likes one thing, they probably going to be entertained in the music field too. Right. So you got to get in the field and you got to act like a person. You can't act like an artist too. That's the biggest mistake too. People be trying to move and act like rappers too early. You can't act like a celebrity. You got to really get in the field and build relationships.
So that's all very good advice. Let me talk about the bad for a second. Because there's
he loves this. He's trying to
I don't love it. I hate that this is happening. And I'm seeing it happen to me. Granted, I just did my first like official on paper influencer marketing thing with Vistaprint, and I was like, this is great. They're gonna give me business cards and stickers, like all the stuff that I use anyway. So and what is their promotion was to, you know, help you market your small business. I forget what it was, the hashtag was, but I'm like, this aligns with what I'm posting all the time anyway. I'm always posting advice on how to, you know, build your brand as a DIY artist. So it was perfect. I would always be on Instagram seeing, and if you have any kind of like female followers, especially, they love targeting young women who post pictures of themselves in clothing, which is, you know, pretty much everyone.
As opposed to what, Payne?
I guess posting like close-ups of their toes or something. I don't know, but you know, especially swimwear too. You'll see, not always, you'll often see some kind of comment on their post saying collab, or we want to make you a brand ambassador, or we want to know if you're interested in an influencer campaign. And I always thought, damn, you know, because some of these people, they're not all women, but some of these people don't have huge followings. Some of them are just regular people, like college students or, you know, whatever. They're not celebrities. They're not influencers. And I'm thinking, these companies really have that kind of budget where they're just giving product and money to all these random people. Well, they're not. It's all bullshit. It's affiliate marketing. No, and I hate this. This is trash because it's framed as influencer marketing, and it's actually just them basically getting free labor out of you. And I'll explain why. So I got this comment from somebody, and now I keep receiving the same damn comment because it's a bot. I thought it was something legitimate at first because I'm like, I got over 50,000 followers on Instagram. My content's pretty engaging. Exactly. I fill my pillow with the cloud, and that's how I sleep at night. But somebody reached out, and they're like, DM our main account. So I DM'd them. I said, good morning. I was told to DM you by a management account for a collaboration. I'm going to read verbatim what they said. Hey, brother, we have spots open for a couple of new ambassadors to join the blank streetwear team. Ambassadors receive 50% off their first order, 40% lifetime discount, also 25% personalized referral code for your followers, which will get paid 30% of commissions. All in return, all we ask is for you to tag us in your photos while wearing your rising streetwear products. Would you be interested? Hell fucking no, I'm not interested in that. This whole thing, you set it up as a collaboration. All it is you giving me a discount on your own products. So you're you're selling products to me. You're not even giving your products to me. You're selling your products to me and making it seem like you're doing me a favor. All we ask in return is that you tag us. In return for what? For me buying your shit? Like if I go to the grocery store and they're like, oh yeah, look, man, we're going to let you buy all these groceries. And in return, all we're going to do is say, we're just going to ask you to post us on Instagram in return. Since we allowed you to buy these groceries. Oh, by the way, if you refer us, you're going to get a small percentage, a minority percentage.
Wait, so that's similar to what happened with Vistaprint, or this is totally
no, Vistaprint. Vistaprint gave me products up front. Vistaprint gave me the requirements up front, and Vistaprint actually they gave me some money, and then they said, hey, we want to double the money because we want you to post more. So to me, I'm looking at that as the standard. I'm not saying it was a ton of money, but I appreciated the way that it was handled. It wasn't some company that didn't make sense, and they weren't asking me for something free. They weren't saying, hey, buy a bunch of business cards and then tag us. You're welcome. That doesn't make any type of sense. Just be careful because there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't right. And these affiliate programs that try to pretend that they're partnerships probably oftentimes are not what they say they are. But I don't know, Dave, can you think of a situation where it would be a smart idea for, say, an artist, a producer, a recording artist, somebody to post an affiliate link and all they're getting out of the deal is a discount on products?
Usually not. But like I said before, man, you have to sometimes give a lot more in the beginning of a relationship to kind of prove to a brand that your fans and their fans are in line, because they don't see it yet. And sometimes you're doing a lot more giving in the beginning, and it just depends on what you want out of this relationship. Like if it's a brand that you really, really rock with and you want a long-term relationship, it's going to be a lot of giving. And I'll even go back to the same, so Ethica, so we went down to Orange County the other day, and I plan on giving a lot more in the beginning. They have a big platform. They sell millions and millions of dollars of clothes every year. And that's not necessary. I mean, we sell merch. We actually sell a lot of merch, but I never plan to, be like just a clothing line. But Ja has a line that I would really like to collaborate with them on. And I know that at this point it would be small potatoes in terms of like what they would like to sell versus like what we're moving now. So I expect to give a lot more in this initial part to show them, to prove to them like that our fans and their customers are in line. So I always kind of look at the long-term potential value of this. The money the money and just the additional exposure. So I can't just say no off the bat. I got to think, okay, well, is this somebody that, are they working with artists at different levels? Can it potentially turn into a financial situation? Can it potentially be a situation where they give me a whole lot more exposure if I continue to build? And, you know, especially if it's something that's relatively small and, you know, not that time consuming to do. Right. That's kind of how I look at each situation is different, though. You got to be smart about it, be professional, you know, and just manage that communication.
Looks like Ted disappeared. I was going to see if he wanted some. I bet you he went to the bathroom or like the chicken was done or something. I don't know.
Again, man, typical artist stuff, man. I know this podcast, this episode has been a lot longer than our normal podcast, so we should probably wrap it up.
Cool. Let's wrap it up. I was going to ask for Ted's final thoughts on artists who are interested in brand collaborations, but I think he gave some pretty good advice during the conversation.
He did. He dropped a lot of gems. But the podcast ends like it started, without Ted.
All right. Well, shout out to Ted Park for being a special guest. Shout out to all of you for checking it out. Again, musicentrepreneur.club.com. Use code MEC podcast to join for free. We have conversations like this, specifically catered to your questions about the music business, specifically catered to your careers as aspiring music business professionals. So hope to see you at a live session. Episode 47 done. We'll catch you on episode 48. Peace.